Hiya everyone, this is Mayhan and thank you so much for being here with me in another Sims 4 speed build. Today we're building the hidden Totems castle on a 64 by 64 lot in Brindleton Bay, and this is up on my gallery if you want to download it under the ID MAIAmakes. That's MAIAmakes. So it's the same name as my channel. And let me tell you, when I was building this, I'm not very proficient in building when it comes to 64 by 64 lots. I'm more of a detailed builder. Like, I get down on the details, and you cannot get down on every detail when you're making a build on a 64 by 64 lot. If this looks familiar to you, it's because I based this build on the Hong Kong Disneyland Castle, the newly renovated Hong Kong Disneyland Castle. I actually came to Disneyland in, I think, 2019 or 2018, and they were renovating the castle. I didn't get to have a very nice photo during that time, but I think they finished the renovations around the end of 2020, and I wanted to recreate that in The Sims 4. And I actually entered this in the challenge in the gallery, hosted by Fake Gamer Girl. If there are any Fake Gamer Girl fans down, please let me know. I really love her content, and I just discovered her this year. And I entered this under the challenge #FGGMillion, and I just watched her video like a few minutes ago, and I was so thrilled that my build got featured. And so here I am now trying to finish this speed build. If anyone asks me what the building process was here, there was no building process at all. I build in a very unorganized way, or disorganized way rather. Unlike other speed builders, you see them get to, they know what they're doing. They know what the vision they're going for, but I didn't. I just knew that I had to recreate the Hong Kong Disneyland Castle in The Sims. And the best way that I could do that was just make a lot of roofs and turrets and towers and spires, everything that makes it taller. And if you're a builder, you would know that you can only build on 4 levels in The Sims, and that's not possible with the Disneyland Castle. It goes all the way up, and I had to make a way to make it even taller than 4 floors, and this is what I did. I went back and forth from the debug menu and all the clutter that you see here. My collection of things that I thought that could work very well with this build. So I played around with each object and used them to look like towers here. And I played around with Tool, of course. I don't think I could ever pull off this build without the Tool mod by Twisted Mexi. And yeah, that's pretty much the building process I have here. You see me here playing around with the chairs, making them look like they're towers, seeing what could work as roofs as well, not only as towers. And there are just a bunch of clutter items that I never use, but I thought that they looked really good as towers. So yeah, I actually I had to search for the Tool tutorial for like how do you make fantasy objects in The Sims. I found Phantasim's tutorial on how to make that, like how you use the the rotate tool of the Tool mod to make different objects look like they're fantasy objects, and that's what I did here a lot. I actually didn't use most of the objects that I found in this build, and I had to delete them anyway. But if you download this and you experience lag, I'm really sorry. I don't think this is gameplay friendly. Oh, and I only furnished the exterior. This is just a part 1. I'm gonna try to finish the interior this coming week, but my week's starting to look very busy, even though I don't have any classes or whatnot. But anyway, here you see here I'm trying to make this table for Moschino stuff back to look like it's another tower, but I think I changed that for another object. But yeah, I was just trying to mix and match objects here and there, trying to make them look like they could fit in Disneyland. And what I noticed actually about the renovations in Disneyland is actually they just kept most of the building, but they added a lot of um actually more turrets to make it look like it's taller. If you see, it's like the same roof texture and all, but they just added this part here, like this. I'm not sure what it is, but it's a observatory. It looks like a observatory with stained glass in it. And this is what I did to make it look very, very tall. I used these side tables from Vintage Glamour to make them look like they're columns. And then I used these debug objects to make them look like they're walls. So you can't actually go there, you can't make your Sims go there, but it looks very nice. So that's what I did. So I used a couple of reference pictures for this build, and I only saw a few angles of it. I couldn't see the whole building, and I've never been to Hong Kong Disneyland ever since they renovated the castle. So I'm just trying to be creative with the things that I don't see. But on the things that I see, I try to make it as detailed and as close as possible to it, because I just want to take my Sims in Disneyland and live vicariously in them. We can't really go outside yet, in my country at least, and I haven't even received the vaccine, so I gotta make do with the Sims. This bit here, I'm trying to do the back part. I'll try to put the picture here if I can, but the roofing here, it was very detailed, and we don't really have trims on roofs, unlike the what do you call this, like the edges of the roofs, not like the very edges where it meets the walls, but the edges when the roof turns. I don't know how to explain it, but I was trying to make it look more fantasy like. And I used different objects here. So I used a side table, I used the debug perfume, and I used a couple of fence posts. And then I used these wands from Realm of Magic to make more spires out of them. And later on, you'll see me use the Get Famous mirrors to make those roof details I'm trying to tell you about. Where is it? Yeah, there is it. They actually work very well, so I think it turned out well. Didn't look very out of place to me. I was trying to go for a very maximalist look on this because it's Disneyland. Everything's just so extra, so I had to make this build very extra. And yeah, being extra, I don't think that it's gonna give you a nice gameplay because it's so laggy. By the time that I was finishing this, it went very, very laggy. So yeah, anyway, more spires, more details, and just trying to find the right objects to make it look as detailed as much as possible. I'm using these shelves, different kinds of shelves actually, to make more roof trim, make the roof trims more detailed. And if you actually run out of ideas, anything from the shelves or the surfaces section of the build, the buy category of the build mode, they could actually come in handy. If you ever get builder's block, you could just play around with those shelves and surface objects. And I'm using these chairs as another turret, I guess. It's kind of weird, but I thought that it could work out. Yeah, and that roof detail that I added to them, I think it's just a decorative object from City Living. Yeah. Here I'm doing the technique in Phantasms build tutorial on the tool mod, and I'm using it to rotate these objects around the center. So it's just a feature of the tool mod where you can rotate objects around the center and they could make really nice circular details. Since we can't have circular walls in The Sims, I just used that technique to make more circular things in this build. And I think if you wanna use the tool mod for these kinds of builds, I think my advice for you is that be mindful of where the object is placed, because for example this was getting a really dark lighting because it was placed in the first floor, and the first floor was actually closed in and it was very dark, so it didn't look so good. So I had to move it around a little bit to put it on a different floor to make it have outdoor lighting. And this is just another tower, and I think this is what cost the build to have to cost a million simoleons. Yeah, so that's another debug object, but the next object that I'll be putting there is actually those gold plates from Jungle Adventure, that one that I'm rotating right now. They're gold plates from Jungle Adventure and they cost like 6,000 simoleons each. And I rotated them a couple of times just to make it look like a gold ball, just for that one roof detail. And if you download this build, by the way, you can find 14 golden totems on the roofs that represent each Disney princess. Because again, this is based on the real Hong Kong Disneyland build, and yeah, the actual build actually has hidden totems around it, like golden things on the roofs that represent a different Disney character. And what I'm doing here, this doesn't go to the final part of the build, but I replaced those gold details with butterflies instead. I'm just adding more details to the outside because I crammed this like just an hour before the deadline of the challenge. And I guess we're coming to the end of the video. Yeah, you're so close to the end of the video. Thank you so much for still being here. If you like this video and want to see more of my content, do like and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. Also, watch out for part 2. I'll be uploading part 2 sometime next week, I guess. The build tour's coming up, and I wish y'all have a very lovely day. See ya!
Ah, nope, sir. Arogaba.